Welcome to Y News, I am Christopher. Nearly a month after China's chip ban on U.S. companies, U.S. memory chip maker Micron said Friday, June 16, it will continue its commitment to operating in China and announced it will invest 4.3 billion yuan in its Xi'an plant. Micron plans to invest more than 4.3 billion yuan in its packaging and testing plant in Xi'an over the next few years, according to an article posted Friday on Micron Technology's public website. The article also said that Micron has decided to acquire the packaging equipment of Xi'an Semiconductor Company, Limited, and also plans to build a new facility at Micron's Xi'an plant and introduce new and high-performance packaging and test equipment to better meet the needs of Chinese customers. According to Micron, the announced new facility will introduce new production lines for mobile DRAM, NAND and SSD products to enhance the existing packaging and testing capabilities of the Xi'an facility. The acquisition of the Xi'an assets enables Micron Xi'an to directly operate all packaging and testing operations. Micron expects that the acquisition of Xi'an will be completed in approximately 1 year, subject to Chinese regulatory approval. The article also states that Micron will sign new labor and employment contracts with all 1,200 employees of Xi'an. The new investment project will also add 500 jobs, bringing Micron's total workforce in China to more than 4,500. Obviously, Micron's article declares Micron's related plans, but it also represents that Micron will increase its investment in the Chinese market, which is obviously very different from the decoupling from China proclaimed by the US government. In fact, since China's investigation against Micron, Micron has realized that China has made a breakthrough in the field of flash memory chips. In particular, Chinese storage companies, represented by China's Changjiang Storage, have stood on the same starting line with Micron in the field of technology, which means that China has broken through the neck technology in the field of memory chips. It is also because of this, China will have the courage to fight back to the US companies, and US companies also see everything at the moment. If the loss of the Chinese market for the US chip companies, itself rooted in the Chinese market, once lost, will cut off half of the US companies. This is a million unacceptable results for US companies, after all, the world's largest chip consumer market in China, and US companies have to decouple from China, which is simply suicide. Now that China has taken the initiative to launch a counterattack on the US flash memory chip companies, it immediately made Micron feel the real threat. For the United States, it can only increase its investment in the Chinese market to further seize the Chinese market, which also allows the United States to have the opportunity to further profits in China. In response, Micron President and CEO Sanjay Mehrotra, said Micron has been rooted in China for 2 decades and has built deep relationships with its customers, and will continue to support their innovation and growth. The investment project underscores Micron's unwavering commitment to our China business and our Chinese team members. To put it bluntly, Micron just can't leave the Chinese market. But the US government is paying lip service to decoupling from China. Micron, this set of operations, I'm afraid that South Korea can't understand. You know, in the field of memory chips, South Korea Samsung, the United States Micron Technology, which is the world's top companies, and they both occupy half of the Chinese market. But when China launched an investigation against Micron, the United States will not allow South Korea to fill the market vacated by Micron in China. To put it bluntly, the US is showing that it wants to starve China to death. After all, the US believes that China cannot replace the market in the field of flash memory chips Micron Technologies needs. As long as South Korea does not fill Micron's market share, then China is bound to come to the United States for help. This is the judgment of the Americans. But the problem is that the United States does not do so is not in the pit of South Korea. Now Micron increased investment in China. Obviously this is to strengthen cooperation with China, more to seize the Chinese market. Micron seems to have increased its investment in China to show its attitude toward China, thus obtaining China's leniency on Micron's review. And at the same time Micron released the industry's first 232-layer stack of 3D NAND chips. Micron itself surpassed South Korea in the field of flash memory chips. If Micron at this time to increase investment in the Chinese market, increasing the most advanced storage chips, it is bound to further compress the South Korean Samsung in China flash memory chip market share. The United States' so play is not to steal the rice bowl of South Korea. You know the United States is asking South Korea to reduce the export of chips to China, especially high-end chips to China's export restrictions. But the United States itself, after the Chinese counterattack, the United States not only did not reduce exports to the Chinese chip market, but also to increase investment in China, where you are playing with China, the chip industry decoupling. You are clearly in the pit other chip manufacturers. You are clearly grabbing more than other manufacturers to pour out the chip market share. In itself, South Korea has been suffering from overcapacity, coupled with the downturn in the chip industry. Itself wants to rely on the Chinese market, but this wave of US operations lets South Korea completely dumbfounded. So play will not be the US pitted to death?